7.1 Identifying Junk versus Whole Food Media. Chapter 7.1 Identifying Junk versus Whole Food Media. Welcome to this important chapter where we dive deep into a crucial skill for your digital dopamine detox journey, learning how to distinguish between junk media and whole food media. Just as our bodies thrive when nourished with whole natural foods instead of processed junk, our minds perform best when fed with high-quality, meaningful media rather than the endless stream of superficial, sensational content designed merely to capture our fleeting attention. Let's unpack what this really means, why it matters, and how you can sharpen your media radar to sustain and scale your focus. Understanding the media diet, junk versus whole food. Imagine your brain as a garden. The information you consume is like the seeds you plant. Junk media is like planting invasive weeds, fast-growing, distracting, but ultimately draining the soil of nutrients and crowding out the healthy plants. Whole food media, on the other hand, is like planting organic heirloom seeds, slow-growing, nourishing, and cultivating a rich, vibrant ecosystem in your mind. Junk media includes clickbait headlines, endless social media scrolling, sensational news snippets, viral gossip, or any content designed primarily to trigger quick emotional reactions, surprise, outrage, or curiosity without offering lasting value. These bite-sized distractions spike your dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, but leave you mentally drained, unfocused, and craving more. Whole food media is content that feeds your curiosity, challenges your thinking, and supports your growth. It could be a thoughtful long-form article, a well-researched podcast episode, an insightful documentary, or a meaningful conversation. This type of media often requires deeper engagement, reflection, and sometimes effort to understand, but in return, it strengthens your cognitive abilities, creativity, and emotional resilience. Real-world examples, spotting the difference. Let's bring this to life with some practical examples. Junk media example. You open your phone to check the news and find a headline. You won't believe what this celebrity did. Clicking through, you get a shallow story filled with speculation, sensationalism, and no constructive takeaway. Your dopamine spikes as you scroll through, but 10 minutes later, you feel restless and unsatisfied. Whole food media example, instead, imagine reading a well-researched article about how sleep impacts brain function, discussing recent scientific studies, practical advice, and linking to further resources. Or listening to a podcast where experts debate strategies for improving focus and mental health. You engage deeply, maybe take notes, and later find yourself applying what you learned in your daily routine. Why does this matter? The media we consume shapes our thoughts, moods, and ultimately our behaviors. Junk media conditions your brain for quick hits of novelty and distraction, making it harder to sustain attention on meaningful tasks. Over time, this rewires neural pathways to crave constant stimulation, reinforcing habits that undermine your goals. Whole food media, by contrast, builds mental stamina and enriches your understanding of the world. It promotes curiosity, patience, and critical thinking, qualities essential not only to focus, but also to lifelong learning and personal growth. Practical takeaways: how to nourish your media diet. 1. Set clear intentions before consuming media. Before you pick up your phone or open a browser, ask yourself, what do I want to learn or achieve right now? Setting an intention helps you avoid mindless scrolling and guides you toward more nourishing content. 2. Curate your media sources. Identify trusted websites, podcasts, and channels that consistently offer in-depth, well-researched content. Unsubscribe or mute sources that thrive on sensationalism or clickbait. 3. Practice mindful consumption. Engage actively with the content. Take notes, reflect on key points, or discuss ideas with others. This deepens retention and transforms passive consumption into active learning. 4. Schedule whole food media time. Just like meal planning, carve out specific times for consuming enriching content. For example, listen to a thoughtful podcast during your commute or read a chapter from a nonfiction book after dinner. 5. Limit junk media exposure. Use app timers and notification settings to reduce time spent on platforms or feeds known for junk content. When you feel the urge to scroll, pause and redirect your attention to something more meaningful. Final thoughts. Identifying junk versus whole food media is more than just a filtering skill. It's about reclaiming control over your attention and rewiring your brain to crave substance over stimuli. As you progress through your digital dopamine detox, remember that what you feed your mind fuels your focus, creativity, and well-being. By consciously choosing whole food media, you're not just detoxing from distraction, you're planting the seeds for a healthier, more resilient brain garden that will sustain and scale your focus long after this course ends. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. Up next, we'll look at practical strategies for managing digital environments to support this nourishing media diet. Stay curious, stay intentional, and let's keep rewiring together.